Hey everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be all about the books that I'm hoping to read in February, so my February TBR. To be honest, this one is going to be all over the place because for the whole month I will be doing my 1 week, 1 shelf challenge. I've been doing it every year for a couple of years now, and it's been a lot of fun, but it's my first time doing it with my new library, and there are a lot more shelves. It might get a little hectic. We're going to make it work. We're going to talk first about all the other books that I'm hoping to sneak in there, so audiobooks or the books for the book club, and then we're going to talk about the rules for the challenge for anyone interested. And I'll show you the first shelf I will be getting to. That way you can also participate. You know, you can try to read from the same genre as me every week. Let's start with the Patreon book club pick for the month. It was pretty tight. It moved around all over. These are 3 books that I will be reading in the next, like, I don't know, 3-4 months. I'm hoping to read them with the book club, but if you guys don't want to, which I don't think that's true because, again, it was pretty tight, I will be reading them. They're so high on my TBR, but the winner was Wild Seed by Octavia E. Butler. My edition is really ugly. Please don't judge her based on that one ugly cover. The reason I have it is because it's a combined edition. I have all 4 books in one, so obviously grabbed it. It's one of the only books that hasn't been like republished with a prettier cover, so this is like the old school one, but please. Trust me, she has become one of my favorite authors so quickly. I read Kindred in 2021. It was the only book I read by her that year, and already I knew she was going to become a new favorite author. And then last year I read 5 of her books, and all of them were like 4 or 5 stars. Easily favorites. So I'm really looking forward to continuing reading everything. Literally everything she has ever written. And this is one of the last series that I have by her. And all of them are sci-fi, but they're fairly accessible, I feel like, for sci-fi. Do be warned, they tend to be really dark, but I feel like she does it so well. You have to try her. Anyway, all of her books tend to be sci-fi. They all have really interesting themes, like whether it's like racism, discrimination. I believe this one has a little bit of like eugenics. Yeah. This one, I don't 100% know what it is about because her books are so complicated that even if I had heard what it was about, I would struggle to explain it. But I know it's between like 2 supernatural entities kind of fighting, but not like out there fighting. One of them wanting to destroy people and the other one is like more of a healing power. So we'll see. The first book is like 200 something pages. It should be a fairly quick read. And because of the challenge, what I'm going to do is whenever I pick a sci-fi shelf, which hopefully will happen, I'll sneak it in here because it's 200 pages. So again, we're not going to stress. It's supposed to be all fun. So yes, very excited for this one. I'm so glad the book club is as obsessed with her as I am because yes. Okay, the second book for the book club is our classic for the month of January, February. It was North and South. It is North and South. And I did start it. I am not quite halfway through it. I need to like rush, but classics for me, I tend to read a couple pages every day, so I don't think this will interfere with the rest of the challenges, so it's okay for me. So far I'm really enjoying it. Like, this is like Pride and Prejudice level for me, which was, you know, an easy 5 stars. So if you haven't picked it up and you were looking at it, definitely do it. I'm looking forward to finishing it, then watching the TV show, because I had started it and it was good, and then I realized it was a book, so I had to stop. So yes, definitely a good classic. We're going to go back to my nonfictions and everything else once I've explained the 1 week, 1 shelf challenge. The 1 week, 1 shelf challenge, I've been doing it for a couple of years, but essentially I numbered my shelf and now it's like from 1 through 6, and then there are 7. So I have 42 shelves. Out of them, though, there's a couple that are empty, so obviously the numbers are not in here, and there's also a couple that I only have like 5 unread books on them, so I combined them. So I have 3 papers that have 2 numbers like that, just to make it a little bit more interesting. And by doing all of that, I had 29 shelf in here, so I decided to make it an even number. I don't know if you can see the orange. The orange one is a bonus shelf. It is my cabinet that contains all my books that I've purchased so far this year. Because of a different challenge, they're kept in the cabinet. So if I pick the orange, I get to read new books all week. I don't feel like I'm explaining this well, but basically I pick a shelf number and I have to read books from that shelf solely for a whole week, which makes it really interesting because it makes me discover books that I kind of forgot about. That's how I ended up finally reading The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I feel like I was like 15 years late, and it had been on my shelf for a couple of years, and I didn't know what to read on that shelf. It was kind of a random shelf. So I tried the first chapter of a couple of them, and then I realized that, oh, this one, the writing is good, and I binge read the whole thing. So we're hoping to find some new forgotten favorites, and I think it's going to be fun. Usually I came really prepared, and I would put audiobooks on the waiting list at my library from a few different shelves, and that way I could also listen to an audiobook from one of the books on a shelf if I picked it. But now that I have, 30 shelves, it was just not possible. Also, my TBR at the library is just so big. We're going to do a video about them soon because I've been adding and finding so many books. I'm so excited to talk about them. But yes, so that's basically the rules of it. I think this is going to be fun. Hopefully. At the end of the video, I'm going to pick my first shelf. That way you can, participate. So we're going to go back and talk about some of the audiobooks that I'm hoping to listen to throughout the month. I will maybe attempt to listen to the same genre because my shelves are divided by genre. So that could, work maybe. Let's start with some nonfiction because like the classic, I like to read a couple pages here and there. And there are a few that I'm hoping to read. So I'm hoping to finish this one. This is Woman, Race and Class by Angela Davis. I don't think I'm going to have time to finish it before the end of the month. I've been trying to read like a chapter a day or every couple of days because this is pretty heavy. But so far I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm currently at chapter 7 as I'm filming this. And you can see I put quite a few post-its, but if you're looking for a really interesting book about, I think the title is pretty self-explanatory, but so far we've analyzed kind of the suffragette movement and then the movement to end slavery, and it's just, I can't even put words into it. Just so far, I can already tell this is going to be 5 stars. Highly recommend. And I thought I would sneak into really short nonfiction because one of my goals this year is to try to read more. So because I'm going to be very busy with that challenge, I like to read, once again, a couple pages every day. So I have 2 that are really, really short. The first one is The Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House by Audre Lorde. Audre Lorde, I haven't read anything by her yet. And this one is like incredibly short. It's like 50 pages. So yes. And then the other one is also by Angela Davis. This one is Our Prison Obsolete. So this is basically about the abolitionist movement. So yes, 2 really short nonfiction that were on my TBR for the year. If I want to read 20 this year, I have to, try to add them like this. Then for the audiobooks from my library, again, I'm trying to have a few options from different genres. For fantasy, because I have a lot of fantasy shelves, like proportionally, like there's a higher chance I will pick fantasy and sci-fi over like nonfiction. I have 3 shelves compared to like 9 or something. So for fantasy, I have The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson. Obviously, I have a physical copy of it too, but I have the audiobook. So if I get a fantasy one, I can continue because I did start this one. I feel like we all know about the Mistborn series. This is the last one in the second Mistborn series. And I know his ending is going to be good. So like, I need to know. I've just been a little bit in a slump since I did one of my vlogs last week for me. I just forced myself to finish Red Seas Under Red Skies, and I've been in a slump since. So we're hoping to move past that. If I pick a mystery thriller horror shelf, I have The Man Who Died Twice, which is the second book in this series. This is basically following a group of older people that are in like a retirement house trying to like solve murder mysteries. At least that was what the first book was. And I had enjoyed it overall. I thought the characters were likable, but I wasn't super invested, but I had been told that book 2 was so much better. So we're going to try that one if I pick mystery thriller throughout the month. I feel like this one doesn't seem to have a specific genre. I'm going to have to look, but I think it's sci-fi, maybe contemporary literature. The Woman Who Could Fly. I've added this recently to my TBR at the library and it looks good. And the waiting list is saying that I could have it pretty much any day. So that's an option. If I pick a nonfiction shelf, I'm definitely ready because again, I have a lot of them on my TBR. I do have Empire of Pain, but it's 18 hours long. So I don't know if it's the right choice for this challenge. And then I also have The Rise and Reign of Mammals, which is 13 hours. So we'll see. Again, if I pick a shelf and I have nothing available audiobook-wise that is the same genre, we're just not going to overthink it. And just, we're trying to have fun and just find new favorites. So it's not the end of the world. Mystery thriller, I also have The House in the Pines. This is a new release that seemed to be quite popular. And I also have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin to continue. if I pick a contemporary or like a pink paper. If you don't know, I've been keeping the same colors for genres. So green is fantasy, blue is sci-fi, yellow is nonfiction, pink is everything else, like contemporary, romance, historical fiction, and then did I say purple is classics? And yeah, that's it. I think I've said them all. And then the orange one for the bonus. So we're gonna pick the first shelf right now. I'm incredibly nervous. I'm not gonna choose the books until, you know, I start filming the vlog, but you can at least know the genre, so that way you can attempt to do the same, or just, you can go and look at my library organization video if you want to see the books on that shelf. Okay, blue. Blue. What is it? 1416. It's a combined shelf, which means it's a good sign because the combined shelves are usually books that, like shelves that have all my favorites. So we're starting really strong. So actually, I don't want to count, but you know, I can't stop my brain. I think this one contains my Octavia E. Butler, all of them, because they're favorites. So I think this is perfect. I'm going to be able to start with Wild Seed. See, I knew it would work out. This is just such a good sign. I'm going to have the best time. So that's it for my TBR for February. I hope you're as excited as I am, and I will be seeing you in an upcoming vlog very soon. I find this challenge a lot less stressful than my read it or unhaul it. Don't get me wrong. That one is very chaotic, and I'm really happy you guys have been enjoying it. But this is just my safe space. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs up, subscribe. I will be putting more videos on the screen that I recommend you check out, including actually my latest read it or unhaul it. And I'm also going to be putting 1 week, 1 shelf videos if you want to see how it has worked in the past. I feel like less shelf was very chaotic too, but I think this is going to be good. I mean, it has to be now. It has to be. So I'll see you soon. Bye.